Just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, the Canadian government has now come out and declared Christmas to be racist. I think we've gone mad. We've all gone mad on Twitter, points out. Just days after he had his Canadian Human Rights Commission declare Christmas is a colonialist symbol of religious intolerance, and one of his more deranged rants in the House of Commons, Trudeau declares, "We stand for Christmas."
That's why on this side of the House, we stand for Christmas.
Well, evidence would suggest otherwise, the Post says here. Now, this came to my attention in the form of, the Bloc Québécois coming out and bringing this to everybody's attention on the House of Parliament floor, the House of Commons floor. I wonder whether Santa Claus is racist. I wonder whether the snow has become racist, Mr. Speaker. According to the Prime Minister, is Christmas racist? He asks. The leader of the Bloc Québécois questions PM Trudeau about a report by the Canadian Human Rights Commission. Here's what he had to say.
A few years ago, on a magazine cover, it said, just because we're laughing doesn't mean it's funny. According to the Canadian Human Rights Commission, celebrating Christmas with trees, family, music, and gifts, that's systemic racism. I wonder whether Santa Claus is racist. I wonder whether snow has become racist. Mr. Speaker, according to the Prime Minister, is Christmas racist?
If that sounds crazy, it's because it is. It totally is crazy. But first, I'll let Trudeau give his response, and then we'll get into why this is being said.
The Canadian Human Rights Commission comes under government administration. The Prime Minister of Canada should stand up and answer.
Oh, that's right, because he didn't want to even oblige the answer. Anyway, he gives his answer here.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I'm very pleased to stand up and try to answer a totally ridiculous question. Obviously, Christmas is not racist.
It should be obvious, but why is your government declaring this? We'll get into it.
This is a country of diversity, a country that celebrates not just our personal, individual beliefs, but we share and celebrate the events of our neighbors too. That's what makes this country so rich. We share our celebrations. It makes us a more rich and diverse country, and we will keep doing that. The Bloc is always looking for ridiculous ways to pick fights. I can't get over it.
Are they looking for a way to pick fights? Let's look at, the National Post wrote an article about this. First reading, Federal Commission declares Christmas holiday is religious intolerance. What? Why is that? The Canadian Human Rights Commission, which wields broad quasi-judicial powers. Now, you need to know that it's quasi-judicial powers. Why do we even have a commission? Why do we have any of these tribunals or commissions? These are all extensions of the bureaucracy that is supposed to take over the judicial side of our governing bodies. This is really ridiculous. The separation of powers are really being thrown out when it comes to these things, and it's been a systemic issue in Canada for some time. But yeah, their quasi-judicial powers argued that a day off on Christmas is discriminatory. It doesn't get any more ridiculous than this, but here we go. I mean, I say that, and then tomorrow it's going to be something else. But the Canadian Human Rights Commission, an agency with broad judicial powers that is fully funded by the federal government, by the way, and this is why Blanchet was bringing this up in the House of Parliament, has declared that the celebration of Christmas is evidence of Canada's colonialist religious intolerance. Of course, they have to bring in colonialism. Colonialism is the one broad term that keeps coming up over and over and over again, and it's just it's tiring. It's tiresome. We're not under colonialism. I don't know if why I have to say this out loud. We don't have colonialism anymore. It's gone. It's something that was of the past, and it no longer is. Anyway, discrimination against religious minorities in Canada is grounded in Canada's history of colonialism, reads the discussion paper on religious intolerance published last month by the agency. An obvious example of the statutory holiday in Canada, it adds, noting that the Christian holidays of Christmas and Easter get days off, while non-Christians have to request special accommodations to observe their holidays. Now, the whole concept of it being racist is really absurd. Christianity is like the largest religion in the world. And I don't know if this is news to some people, but the world is full of all kinds of races. I mean, Christianity is celebrated and practiced in so many different countries that are not white majority countries, and they're celebrated and practiced by and worshipped by so many people that are not white in origin. It's really, really strange that I have to point that out. The thrust of the paper, first reported by Blacklock's reporter, is that Canada is replete with religious intolerance and always has been. In order to move forward towards sustainable change, all Canadians must first acknowledge Canada's history of religious intolerance, it reads. This is just unbelievable that this is a thing. Now, this is the Twitter page for this. You can rifle through this and find all kinds of epithets of them searching for racism where it doesn't exist. Of course, this is a perfect example of when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. This is really the gist of these kinds of agencies. When this is their mandate, that they're out there to look for racism, they're going to find it everywhere. They're going to look around and they'll find it in every single thing, and they'll point the finger at, of course, the usual suspects. In this case, it's white people. And it's like, what's wrong with it? I mean, we've seen this in cases where, you know, the signs where it's okay to be white is seen as intolerance. It's ridiculous. Aaron Gunn chiming in on this one. I think I can honestly say I've gone my entire life without meeting an actual person who finds Christmas or saying Merry Christmas offensive, discriminatory, or racist in any way. Some people just always want to divide us with when we should instead be all coming together as Canadians. Good on the National Assembly of Quebec, because they wrote this article saying, in Quebec, we celebrate Christmas. National Assembly rejects the notion that Christmas is racist. The motion was in response to Canadian Human Rights Commission paper that pointed out the only statutory holidays in Canada are linked to religious faith are Christian ones. Whoop-de-woo. We've been a majority Christian nation for some time, and I think it still is the case. Now, you can go over to the website of the Human Rights Commission. It looks like a fantastic website. Great job designing this website. But if you want to go, you want to complain? Because like that's their only point, is complaining. If you want to complain, if you believe that you've been experienced discrimination or harassment, you may be able to file a complaint with the Human Rights Commission. Perhaps you can complain to them about them complaining about Christian holidays. Now, this whole fight against colonialism is hilarious because it's not around anymore. But nonetheless, there's a lot of things that came about from colonialism that are great. They're actually good things. We don't want to celebrate those for some reason. I don't know why, but every time I hear about people complaining about it, it reminds me of this scene from The Life of Brian by Monty Python, where they're complaining about Rome and what has Rome ever done for us. I'll leave a link in the description down below where you can go check out the video in its entirety. But yeah, so colonialism is no longer a thing. Yes, there was things that were bad about colonialism, but there are all kinds of things that became great things out of colonialism. How about our entire nation of Canada. That could be something that we can celebrate today. And if we've moved away from discrimination in so many ways, but somehow we're moving in towards discrimination of other people in the namesake of anti-discrimination. Anyway, I'll leave this one with you guys. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Do you think Christmas is racist in any sort of way? Perhaps it's a perfect time, even if you don't have anything to say, just say Merry Christmas in the comments down below. Let everybody know that that you celebrate Christmas. Anyway, we'll be celebrating Christmas in our home, and it's going to be a good one as always. Leave a comment in the comment section down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.